Hey guys, it's Mel, and today I want to talk a little bit about religion. So, religion is not often tied to INTJs because religion is, for the most part, viewed as something that's illogical, and INTJs are very logical. There's a stigma in society where religion is anti-science. You know, you're either religious or you're pro-science, and it gets kind of messy. But in an INTJ mind, which is very abstract and open-minded, by the way, the INTJ wants to operate in logic, but is also open to every possibility and looking for all of the little interconnections in the world and different ways to see and do that. So I disagree, but you also have to look at the, definition of religion. So, religion being something about like the cult like tradition, values of a lot of like religious folks, I wouldn't see any INTJ engaging in any of that kind of stuff, like throwing that out there. But when you talk about religion as far as spirituality and believing in a higher power, I think that is something definitely you're going to see a lot of INTJs relating to. So for me personally, I look at that as not a conflict. I don't see the conflict between spirituality or believing in a higher power to science. I don't think that that's it's this way or that way, black and white kind of situation, because for me, looking over the logic leads me to believe that there is a higher power. Now, whether or not any specific higher power of any specific religion or spiritual background is the right or best decision, there's a lot of that up for debate. But as far as the existence of a higher power, I, as an INTJ, have a hard time believing that that's counter science, that that's like against that. And part of that is just like internal personally as well. If I'm a person who strives to make change, to problem solve, to implement, solutions and perfect kind of system based entity, like I want to be respected and acknowledged for my work, for everything that I participate in, that I implement, and my ideas. And the other side of that is that I like to give that same validation to other people who implement systems, who create things, who do things. I am one of those people that if you go with me to the movie theater to watch a film when it debuts, I'm going to sit and watch all of those people's names roll on the credit, because I believe that everybody who worked on that film deserves the credit for their work, and that you should sit there and acknowledge that. And so that kind of like belief system that lives inside of me, I look at human beings and the complexity of our anatomy, our respiratory system, and our circulatory system, and the way that everything works inside of us, and how much science that there is, so much to learn about everything, about the laws of physics, about everything that exists in our world. And I don't believe that all that stuff just like came out of nowhere and exists without somebody creating it or having an effect on it. And so that plays more into that, and not just like of believing in that higher power, but also being able to believe in myself and that I make an impact on the world. Because to believe that, to live my whole life trying to change and perfect a world that doesn't matter is completely pointless. So if I put all of this effort in trying to perfect and correct a system that never mattered in the first place and nobody made and like is just gonna all disappear and like nobody will ever care ever again, is like it makes my whole life seem pointless and worthless, and I don't want that. So like my logic points me to the existence of a higher power, and then deriving who the higher power is or how to worship or engage or have a relationship with them is much more complex to deal with, because it's not in this reality and it's not something tangible that you can prove and find evidence for, even though there's some ways that you can do that. So there's this inner conflict, but to me it's absolutely reminiscent of the inner conflict of an INTJ anyway, because we're operating on this intuition and this inner connection of all these ideas in our brain. But we believe that every decision that we make and every operation that we make on this intuition, like every choice that we make leaning on intuition, is all based on logic because of the data in the background that is making all of those connections. So I don't know. I think the INTJ, of all people, would be the most engrossed in not only like defining spirituality, but trying to find the right one because we're trying to do the right of everything and try to find the best of everything. That I think it would be very typical to see INTJs like studying religions and kind of evaluating all of them, and speculating on the future. Because also too, when you think about an INTJ focusing on future, where is their future? Well, where do you exist when you die? Where do people go? Is there an afterlife? Is there reincarnation? And all of these things that an INTJ would be likely to think about, all of these abstract concepts and ideas, and try to find some way to link them all together and incorporate them into their life system. So I don't, but that's my thought. Again, you take a really different turn between religion as being some kind of like systematic cult like traditional organization that you join and this idea of spirituality and kind of appreciating a higher power and their connection to our world and potentially any type of involvement or assistance that they can provide in life. So this is my thoughts on just like basic religion and INTJs. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.